guys, welcome to another 3000 GT vr4 video. It's been about a month and a half or so since the last update on this project, and a lot has happened. I took the car for a drive at that point, probably a good 20-mile drive, and the car is still not very drivable. The shock absorbers are shot, especially in the front. Actually, as you can see, there's nobody home in the front, and the car floats like a boat on the road, and it actually made me a little bit sick when I was driving because the front end can never settle down, and it just constantly bounces on the road, and it's absolutely not safe to drive when the shocks are really that bad. So today I'm going to show you how far this project have come, and I have some interesting information about the passenger airbag because I purchased second gen dash that has a passenger airbag, and I wanted to make that to work. I couldn't really find a lot of info if anybody has done that already. Maybe somebody has done it. I couldn't find it, so I'm gonna share with you all the info, everything necessary in order for you to be able to connect the passenger airbag and have a working passenger airbag. And also I'm going to share some info on the wheels. I mentioned in the last video the wheels fit was just a little 5mm spacer, and since now the wheels are back on, front wheels are back on the car, I'm going to show you how far they stick past the caliper. So yeah, let's go around the car and I will explain everything. So first the wheels are niche wheels, and those wheels are sold by Les Schwab, I think. That's probably the easiest place you can go and ask for these wheels. I'm sure you can find them online. But they're a 6-spoke wheel. I think I'm gonna need my light for this. Just a second here. Oh, there it is. So this is a 6-spoke wheel, and I have the box on the other side of the garage, and I will show you guys exactly what the part number is for this wheel. And so okay, so it's close. It's actually a bit further than what the stock wheels fit on these cars. So with just a 5mm spacer, it fits pretty well, and also the wheel doesn't stick out of the fender, past the fender too much, as you can see. It's just about the edge of the tire is where the edge of the fender is. So yeah, I put spacers on the rear, even though they weren't needed. I just wanted to put spacer and kick the wheels out as much as the front ones. And my car is on stock suspension, so stock suspension height. I don't know how these will fit if you have a lowering suspension kit or something. Tires are pretty much stock size. They're 245 40 ZR18s, and I like the Continentals because those are all season tires, and I live here in the mountain, so I need to have all season tires instead of just nice summer tires. So here is the box on the wheels. As you can see, the size, the offset, the center bore. So you're gonna need a centering ring, and I think I'm gonna put that size in the comments because I don't remember exactly. But the center bore of the wheel is larger than the hub. I think the hub was a 67.1 if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, this is all the information you need. It's all four wheels are the same size. So 4 of these get you here. And let me show you first how everything looks inside at this point. So the dash is in. The dash is in. This is a used dash I purchased from eBay, and it was actually relatively cheap. The dash was $430, and these dashes go between, there were two to choose from at that price, and I saw they can go up to $800 range. I have new vents. This dash is in a very good condition, just a little bit of a shrinking there by the driver's side, but not enough to where it's really visible at this point. And little advice on the vents. The vents are still available. Let me get this. The vents are still available on eBay. They're roughly around $100, and when I bolted down these vents, and as you all know, they break right at the points where they're held onto the dash. So there's a screw. There's a screw here. Screw here in the middle, and screw here on this end, and usually they break somewhere here in the middle. It's not only because the dash is shrinking and it's pushing on the vent. It also, when I tightened them up, there was tension, uneven tension. I mean, either in the middle was loose, and on the one end was really tight. So even before I put this dash on, that vent was under some tension. It was never relaxed. So in order for me to try and preserve this vent cover here as much as I can, as okay, $100, maybe not that much, but in order to replace this, you have to remove the dash and everything underneath the dash. So it's not really a very nice process, and I doubt anybody wants to do that all the time. So what I did is I took I took a tape of this kind. This is camper weather stripping. It's just a weather stripping material. It's a sticky on the one side, and it's like a sponge. So I cut squares of this, and then I put them in between where the hole is for the vent and the dash. So this gives it a cushion, and also I tightened it just enough to where the this vent molding is just enough to where the vent molding is even with the dash flush, no more. So that way the weather stripping gives a little bit of cushion, and also it's not so tight to where it gives it enough room to flex. Of course, if you don't put that and leave the screws loose, then it's just gonna rattle there. So that was one thing I did. And the other thing that was not mentioned when I was doing the dash swap, because I saw that there is a few videos that are posted on this second gen dash swap. The one thing that wasn't mentioned is the wiring past the gauges here. The wiring is a little bit shorter than the wiring for second gen cars. So I had to remove the plastic attachment. There's this plastic kind of attachment points of this kind. They're not push pins, but they're just a little plastic kind of brackets with the holes in them, so you can attach the wiring to on the back of the dash. So two of the wiring is a little bit shorter, but it actually does fit. So I had to remove those plastic attachments and just route the wiring somewhere inside this area instead of being further out where it is originally. So I run it inside this area, and I relocated these plastic attachments in order to be able to to attach the wiring to the dash. So the wiring is long enough to where it's out of the way when you route it like this, and yeah, you don't have to extend anything, and the wiring is free. There's no tension on it or anything. So passenger airbag. Let me get the light. There's something there. There's a bracket here for the passenger airbag that on first gen is missing. So first thing different, this you're gonna need this bracket. This bracket is second gen bracket. First gen, it's similar. It can probably be modified, but I had this one, so I used this one. This supports the bottom of the dash here, and then the airbag mounts for the dash right here with these two little screws. But this just puts the airbag to mount together with the plastic of the dash. That does not support the airbag with the frame here under the dash. So on second gen cars, there's brackets here welded to this support brace, which of course we don't have here on the first gen cars. So in order for the airbag to be attached securely, and of course we have to rely on it in a event of an accident. So I built these brackets with what I think they're gonna be strong enough to hold it. I drilled the support here, and these are rather large bolts, as you can see, and these are original style bolts that the airbag bolts onto. And it was difficult to achieve this because as I was tightening up these bolts, and the airbag was moving back, so I had to go back and forth, remove these brackets and bend them a little bit, put them back on. So it took 4 or 5 attempts until finally the airbag is flush here with the dash, and sits where it needs to be. So from here on, how to connect everything and what else we need in order to make this work. So on second gen cars, the airbag wiring for the passenger runs with this big wiring harness right here. So I'm not going to, I decided not to go through the trouble taking all the electrical tape off of this just to run two wires in it. So I run a separate wire, and of course I had a parts car. So at that point I robbed this. This is the red wire that usually runs for the red, a red wiring loom that usually runs on the driver's side. So I got that from the passenger, from the donor car. It just was convenient to use, and just identifies that this is a airbag wiring inside. This is why airbag wiring is all in the red wire loom. So there's plenty of room here where the groove is for this wiring, for this wire to run along with it, and I'm just gonna zip tie the two wires together. So this is the passenger airbag wiring, and here I run the passenger airbag wiring inside here. There's plenty of room inside this wire loom. I just remove the tape here on that section, and remove the tape here on that section. I used red tape just to make everything look as original as possible. So this is a 1994 SRS module, and the plugs are the same. Actually, I'm gonna show you guys this module here. This is the old module from '91. Okay, so what do we have here? So we have here, this is our driver side airbag, and yellow plug is the left sensor. This is the sensors that are in the fender wells. So this is left sensor, this is right sensor, and here's our main plug. When we look at this module, the left and right sensor are actually connected to the main plug instead of being separate, and we have driver airbag goes in the same place, and right here next to the main connector is where the passenger airbag goes. It's just a little bit different plugins on the 94 module, but this one is exact same. So on 91, as you can see, these sensors run separately. In 94, the two sensors are plugged in into the main plug. So there's no cutting required or soldering in order to achieve installation. The pins here are exactly the same as the pins here. So what we have to do is just de-pin these two connectors and pin these 4 wires in here into the main connector. And as scary as that it sounds, it's actually pretty straightforward. Let me just explain to you what they did between the years. Every wire that goes into the main connector is in the exact same place between 91 and 94. It's just they added the 4 wires for the 2 sensors into the main connector in the later years. I don't know how the wiring diagram looked past 94. That is something for you guys to check. But let me show you the part number for this module. So here's the part number, MR172687. So of course we need the module, and we need the green plug here that is for the passenger airbag. We already have the plug for the driver airbag, and we already have the main plug in the car. So yeah, essentially what you're gonna need is just a module, a passenger airbag, plug to module, and passenger airbag. Here the plug from the wiring harness to the airbag, and of course you can run any type of wiring you like to get from the module to the airbag. A little warning here: don't energize this module without everything plugged in, because once you set SRS light, then the SRS light will be on until you have a proper device to clear it, which is not very common nowadays. These cars are pretty old. This is a OBD1, and through OBD1 you will still have communication with the SRS control module. Okay, like I said, the wiring is exactly the same, it's just named different, and the pins are named different. So here in 91 we have here's all the numbers and the pins, and this is how they look here. So left hand sensor is 5152, right hand is 1 and 3. This is driver's airbag is 101 and 102. It's really confusing. And this is the main plug, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 up to 12. Well, in 94 they're counted, the main plug is counted. It's actually, this is not OEM wiring diagram, but this is the OEM wiring diagram from Mitsubishi. And this wiring diagram, just like this one, is a little confusing, because when you look at this one, it just lays out everything with the face of the module, and it's much more explanatory. It's just better to understand. So on the big plug, the pins here are 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on, and here just they're just numbered different between the 2 wiring diagrams. But when you go through and just look at all the wiring colors, every wire goes in the exact same place, just here. So we're looking at pin 15, 16, 17 and 18. This is where we need to plug in the crash sensors in the front, that are in the front of the car. And as it follows here, left sensor is our yellow plug and right sensor is our blue plug. It's a little bit confusing here on the wiring. As you can see, so pin 18 goes together with pin 15. So the right sensor is on the outer more outer pins, and the left sensor is on 16 and 17. And of course, it's gonna be these two black wires ground, and then right next to them black, white, white. So to dip in the connector, it's very easy, and I will show here in a minute. So that is the only difference. That is the only difference here. Just everything else is the same. That's all you need to do. You need to dip in these two connectors from the old module and pin them into the new one, and run a wiring for the passenger airbag. So in order to pull the we have these tabs here that has to be removed. As you can see, this is where the two-piece connector attaches, makes connection here. And when you're removing this, also pay attention. One, there is bottom cover and the top cover, and one of the covers has to come out first. So as you're looking, let me see here. Okay, as you're looking at the module, the top cover has to come out first, and then the bottom cover next. And let's see if I can shine a light in there. I don't know if you can see it, but right on top of the wire is a little plastic spring of a kind. The back covers on these blue and yellow connectors are removed already, so you can see the wire inside, and there's a little spring, plastic kind of a spring, part of a connector on top of it. You have to push that up and then pull the wire out. It's very simple. And also don't forget this green tab here. This green tab here is actual switch. So don't try to pull wires out of this module without first opening this and unlocking. It's a switch, and it's also a locking tab that locks all the connectors in the module. So yeah, this is it so far. As far as the airbag goes, I'm in the process of repairing the AC HVAC just a control module. It's not much to say, it's just the capacitors are leaking on it, and I have to replace them. Probably I'll post something on the next update. I don't know at this point. So here all the air boxes, everything is in. So this insulation, I remove this insulation, remove all the insulation from the back of it, and replaced it with new one. It's just, at this point, everything is a mess. I don't even remember how many things have been done to get to here. Here's the seats. These are the seats that are going to be in the car, and this is a temporary seat which I'm using currently. The other seats are not ready. This is the stereo I chose for this car. Also, if you want to install a stereo, you're gonna have to find a wiring harness that was made at some point for these cars, Here's the adapter wiring harness. I was lucky enough that the donor car actually had this wiring harness in it. Somebody already installed aftermarket radio on it. That was a big relief. And what else? Okay, I'm gonna start it, show you. SRS light is coming on, then it's turning off like it should. Still have some lights that are not coming on properly, but here's the SRS light. It's on, turned off. We have as you can hear, there's still some things to fix. The AC compressor bearing is falling apart, so that's one of the next thing that I have to do. And I have a ABS light on. ABS light is on for, I guess there's no connection with the rear left wheel speed sensor, and that's one of the next things on the list to do. But yeah, the headliner is off, and that's right over there. I think I'm gonna spend the time and reupholster it. I bought this. This is fake Alcantara type of material from Joann's Fabrics. So this will be at some point a thing to do. But yeah, yeah, that's it for now. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Hopefully after a month or so. The car is coming along pretty good. So yeah, you guys have a good day, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye now.